Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll learn about the automatic PO creation process against any purchase requisition through T Code ME59. Now earlier on our channel we have already discussed the process of automatic PO creation during goods receipt. If you haven't seen the video on that topic, then I have kept the link in the description. You can check there. Now in that video we saw how we can create the PO automatically while we do the goods receipt, and we saw what all settings are required to do this process. Today we'll learn about the automatic PO creation through PR route. That is, we'll create a purchase requisition and we'll see how we can do certain settings in SAP and what all assignments we have to do to the PR so that the PO gets created automatically through a particular T code, that is T code ME59. We'll also see what is the source of supply for a purchase requisition and how we can create PO automatically against a purchase requisition through T code ME59. We'll also see how we can schedule batch jobs so that ME59 is run in the background to create the PO automatically. That also we'll see today. Now before we start, if you're new to my channel or haven't subscribed yet, I would request you to kindly subscribe to my channel to get early notifications of all my content. Your likes and subscriptions really motivate me to create more content on SAP MM. Now let's dive into our today's topic. Now first let's see what all steps shall be required for auto PO creation through ME59. So the first step shall be to activate the automatic PO indicator in the material master. Now this indicator shall be maintained in the material master purchasing view against your particular plant. Then you have to activate the automatic PO indicator in the vendor master. This indicator shall be available in the vendor master purchasing view, and you have to maintain this indicator against the purchase organization which will be placing the purchase order. Then once you have marked these two indicators, then you have to create an info record or the contract for the material. Now this info record or contract will behave as a source of supply for that particular material. So in order to do this automatic PO creation, source of supply is mandatory. And this source of supply shall be maintained in the system either in the form of info record or the contract. And once you have created this source of supply, then you will create the purchase requisition and assign this source of supply in the PR line item. So these two steps are very important, that you have to create an info record or a contract, and that info record or contract you have to assign to your purchase requisition line item once you have created it. This particular source of supply will only be picked by the system when the system tries to create the automatic purchase order through ME59. And once you have done all these four steps, that is marking automatic PO indicator in the material master, automatic PO indicator in the vendor master, and then creating info record or contract and assigning it to the PR line item. Once you have done all these four steps, then you have to run T code ME59 and system will create the purchase order automatically against the purchase requisition. Now we'll see in ME59 what all input fields are there and how we can use ME59 more efficiently and in a more productive way. And we'll see in SAP how we can do all this process. So now let's see in SAP how we can do this process of automatic PO creation through ME59. So in our first step, what we'll do is we'll create a material code. So let's go to T code MM01. We'll select an industry. We'll select a material type. We'll press enter. We'll select basic data 1, purchasing, accounting 1 and storage 1. Click OK. We'll enter our plant and storage location. We'll press enter. Now we'll enter the description of the material. So let's enter auto PO test. We'll enter unit of measurement, a material group. We'll press enter. Now we are in purchasing view. So here you can see the automatic PO indicator is there. We'll mark this indicator here. We'll enter a purchasing group. Then we'll press enter. Then we'll go to the accounting view and we'll enter the valuation class. And we'll save this material code. So you can see the material code has been created. Now let's verify whether automatic PO has been marked in the vendor master or not. So we'll go to T Code XK02. So we'll enter the vendor code, the purchase organization, and we'll mark this purchasing data indicator here and we'll press enter. System will send us to the T Code BP, and in this particular and this screen, if we scroll down, you can see this automatic purchase order indicator is here. So we'll mark this indicator and we'll save this vendor code. So now our automatic PO indicator has been marked in the material master and the vendor master. Now let us create an info record. So we'll go to T Code ME11. And here is our material code and the vendor code and the purchase organization. We'll enter a plant here and we'll press enter. Then again we'll press enter. Here we have to enter some delivery time and standard quantity. And here we have to enter the net price. Let's enter 150 rupees as the net price for this item. And then we'll save this info record. Now let's create a purchase requisition for this particular material code. So we'll go to ME51N. We'll enter the material code, enter some quantity, we'll enter our plant and we'll press enter. Now here we'll enter the valuation price for this PR. Now to assign the source of supply to this PR, we have to go to this tab. You can see source of supply tab is here. We'll go to this tab and here we have to click on this particular button, assign source of supply. Now if you want the PR to be automatically assigned to a source of supply, you can click this checkbox also. The source determination checkbox, if you select, then system will automatically determine the best source of supply for this PR line item and will automatically populate here. Now in this case, we are going to do it manually. So we'll click assign source of supply here. And you can see system has automatically determined this info record and system has entered this vendor in the fixed vendor field. And you can see purchase organization also has been entered in this field. Now these entries are mandatory if you want to create PO automatically through ME59. So in every PR, you have to verify whether the source of supply has been assigned or not. That is in form of this fixed vendor and this purchase organization. Now, as I have told you, this source of supply can be in the form of info record or a contract line item. So either you can enter agreement number and a line item here, or you can enter an info record here. In both the cases, this fixed vendor field will be entered by the vendor code and this purchase organization will be populated by the purchase organization against which either the info record has been created or the agreement has been created. So this fixed vendor field and this purchase organization field must be filled if you want to use this PR for auto PO creation. Okay. Now this particular source of supply will be either in the form of info record or in the form of agreement and line item number. So in this case, we have created an info record and we have assigned it to PR. Let's save this purchase requisition. Now let's display this PR first. So you can see this PR has been created. Now we will use the automatic PO creation T code, that is ME59, to create PO against this purchase requisition. Now normally if you want to create PO, you will have to go to ME21N and then enter these PR number manually and then create the PO. We'll use ME59 and system will take all the data from the purchase requisition and then create PO automatically. Let's see that. So we'll go to T code ME59. And here you can see there are multiple input fields which are available in ME59. Now, first of all, what we'll do is we'll create the PO and then we'll see what all these input fields are there. So let's remove all these input criteria. And let's enter the purchase requisition number here. Okay. And then let's click on test run first so that system shows me whether PO will be created or not. And let's execute this transaction. So you can see system is telling me that test run is successful, and here system is telling me that a supplier has been identified and a purchase organization also has been identified. Now let's go back and let's remove this test run and execute. So you can see system has automatically created the purchase order against that PR. Let's display this PO first. So let's go to ME29N. And you can see system has opened the same PO which was created automatically. Now the PO document type that was selected by the system is the same as the PR document type. This is the first thing that system picked. If you go to the header, in the organization data, the purchase organization was picked from the PR. The purchase group was picked from the material master, and the company code was derived from the plant. You can see here, and all these details was entered from the PR itself. If we scroll right, we can see that the PR number has been entered here. So this PO has been created against reference of this PR. This PR contained this info record which we assigned as a source of supply to the PR line item, and against this info record all those details were populated, like the unit price and all other details. Like this delivery date was also populated by calculating the delivery date from the info record. We entered a delivery time in the info record. So from that, system automatically added those number of days and calculated the delivery date for this PO line item. So in this way, you can see system automatically created this PO against the purchase requisition by taking data from the info record, and because we marked the automatic PO indicator in the material code and in the vendor code. If we double click in the material code here, you can see this automatic PO indicator was marked. You can see this automatic PO indicator was marked. And if we double click on this vendor code, and if you go to the supplier and we go to the purchasing view, if you scroll down, you can see this automatic PO indicator was marked. So in this way, system identified everything and then created this purchase order. Now let us see the input fields of ME59 in detail and how we can use the T Code ME59 in more productive way. So if we go to ME59, you can see there are multiple input fields. Let us say that you keep on receiving purchase requisition for a material and you have more than one purchase requisition for the same material. Now what you have to do is, you're not supposed to enter the PR number then. You have an input field for material. You can simply enter the material code and system will pick up all the purchase requisition where the source of supply has been assigned, and then will create the PO per vendor code. Now if you want to put more filters on how the system creates purchase order, then you have all these checkboxes here. Let's say that you have 4 PRs which have different plants. Now if you click on this per plant checkbox, then system will create separate PO for each plant. Let's say that a PR has 4 line item. Out of those 4 line item, 2 have same plants and other 2 have different plants. Then in that case, system will collectively create one PR for those 2 line items which have same plant, and then will create 2 more POs for those 2 separate plants. So per plant means for each line item containing the same plant code, system will create one PO. Okay. Similarly, for per purchasing group, if you have multiple purchasing group in various PRs, system will collate all the line items based on purchasing groups, and then system will create purchase orders. Similarly, for storage location, item category, company code, all these checkboxes that you see, you can use so that your PO gets created more efficiently. The system selects those line items and then create PO in that particular fashion. Okay, now you have one more checkbox here. If you scroll down, you have a contracts checkbox here. As I have told you, system can also create PO against a contract if you assign that contract as a source of supply in the purchase requisition. But to select the PRs which have been assigned to contracts, you have to select this particular checkbox here. Now let us create a contract and assign it to a PR and then see how system creates PO automatically. So this time what we'll do is we'll go to T Code ME31K. We'll enter the vendor code. We'll enter the purchase organization, the purchase group and the plant, and we'll press enter. We'll enter a validity. Here we'll enter the material code. We'll enter some quantity. And here we'll enter a net price different from what we have entered in the info record. So we'll enter 120 rupees here. And we'll save. Let's display this contract. So you can see we have created this contract. Now let us create a separate purchase requisition for this material again. So we'll go to ME51N. We'll enter the same material code. We'll enter some quantity, the plant. We'll enter some valuation price. Now remember, this valuation price is the estimated price for this purchase requisition. Okay, we'll press enter. And here in the source of supply, we'll click on assign source of supply again. Let's click it. So now let's create the PR again for this item. So we'll go to ME51N. We'll enter the material code. We'll enter some quantity, the plant, and we'll press enter. We'll enter the valuation price. Now remember, this valuation price is the estimated price for this particular PR. Then we'll go to source of supply and we'll click on assign source of supply. Now you can see there are two line items coming. Earlier we assigned the source of supply as info record to this PR line item. Now because we have created a contract also, so both these source of supplies are coming. One is the info record and another one is the contract line item. So either we can assign this info record to this PR line item or we can assign this contract also. So let's assign contract this time. So we'll click on this button here. We'll again click on assign source. So you can see here agreement number and item is coming, and this fixed vendor field is filled by the vendor code, and you have purchase organization entered in this field here. So now we have assigned the source of supply to this PR. Let's save this purchase requisition. Now we'll create the PO automatically through ME59 against this PR. So we'll go to ME59. We'll enter the PR number here. Let's execute. You can see the PO has been created. Let's go to this purchase order first. So we'll go to ME23N. And now you can see this PO has been created against this particular contract. You can see here the contract number has been updated in the system and the value has been picked from the contract. You can see here 120 rupees has been picked from the contract now. So in this way we can create PO automatically against PR which has been assigned to contract also. But for that this particular checkbox is essential. If we again go to ME59, you can see this checkbox which is available here is essential. If you deselect this checkbox and then if you execute, then system will not be able to pick that PR. Let me just show you that. So let's open this PR first. And we'll just copy this line now. If you go to source of supply, you can see this contract has already been assigned. We'll save this PR. We'll again go to ME59. We'll select this purchase requisition. And this time what we'll do is we'll deselect this checkbox. Now let's execute. Now you can see system is telling that no suitable purchase requisitions found. This is because my PR is assigned to a contract. And because I have deselected this checkbox, so system was not able to pick that particular PR and create the PO automatically. So this is important that when you have assigned contract to the PR, then you have to select this checkbox here in the ME59 input field. Okay. Now let us see some examples related to these checkboxes. So what we'll do is we'll change the PR and we'll enter multiple purchase groups in that particular PR. So we'll go to ME52N. So here you have a line item which is assigned to a contract. Now what we'll do is we'll copy this line item again. And this time we'll assign an info record to this line item. And here we'll change the purchase group. So let's change this purchase group to 002. And let's save this PR. So now we have one line item 20, which is assigned to a purchase group 001. And we have line item 30, which is assigned to purchase group 002. So you can see we have two line items, one with purchase group 001 and another with purchase group 002. Now let us create PO through ME59. So we'll copy this PR number. We'll go to T Code ME59. Now this time we'll enter the material code in this particular transaction. So we'll enter the material code here and we'll select per purchasing group. So we have two line items in the PR, both have different purchasing groups. So system will select these two lines separately and then create the PO. Now let's execute this transaction. So you can see here two POs has been created. Now let us go to the PR again. Now where can you find the PO number against this PR line item? So we have to go to the PR line item. Click on the status tab. And here you can see system created this PO for this particular PR line. And if you go to item 30 of the PR, system created a separate purchase order for this particular PR line item. So because we selected per purchase group, so system created two POs against those two purchase group. Let's open these POs. So if I double click here, you can see this PO was created with purchase group 002. And if I go back, go to line item 20 of PR and double click here, you can see purchase group 001 was entered in this particular purchase order. So system selected the purchase group from these two PR line items and then created separate POs for these two PR line items because we selected the checkbox in ME59. Let me just show you again. We selected this checkbox per purchasing group. Okay. Similarly, if you select per plant, system will create PO per plant. And if you have multiple PRs also, which have same material code, then system will select all those PRs and then will collate the PR line items based on these selections that you have done in this screen. Okay, so this is very important that if you want to run ME59 and if you have multiple PRs, then you can select these checkbox so that PO are created as per your requirement. Now let us see how we can schedule this ME59 transaction in background through batch process so that when we create a PR, system automatically creates the PO without running the ME59 manually, because you can see I have to enter these details in ME59 and then execute. What we'll do now is we'll schedule all this in background and then system will keep on creating the purchase orders. Okay. So let's first create the PR. So we'll go to ME51N. We'll enter the material code, enter the quantity, we'll enter the plant, enter evaluation price, and in the source of supply, we'll assign the source of supply to this PR line item. Let's assign this info record only. And let's save this PR. Now this time what we are going to do is, we are not going to run ME59 manually. What we have to do is, we have to schedule this ME59 in background. How we can do that? So to schedule a batch job process, we have to go to T Code SM36. We have to give a job name. And here we have to click on step. Now here we have to enter the program name. That is the program which is behind the T Code ME59. Now how we can get the program behind ME59? So let's go to T Code ME59 first. We'll go to System, go to Status, and here you can see this is the program name for this T Code ME59. Let's copy this. We'll enter the program name here. And here you can see we have something called as a variant. Now what is a variant? Now whenever you are going to run T Code ME59, you must have some input field saved in the system. Because how system will run the ME59? You have a particular material code for which you want to run this job regularly. Or you have some vendor code on which you want this ME59 to run automatically in the background. So you will have to tell the system what all input fields are there for which you have to run this particular background job. And that particular input fields is saved in something called as a variant. A variant will be something which will be saving all the input fields of ME59 and then will feed into the system and then run that ME59 in the background. So let's create a variant first. So now we are in T Code ME59. What we are going to do is we are going to simply save a variant for our material code. So we'll enter the material code here. And we have to click on save button here. Okay, you can see save as variant. If I click on save, system will ask me to enter a variant name. So let's enter a name here, auto PO, and a description also will enter auto PO variant. Now you can give it your own name so that you are able to select this particular variant when you are going to activate the background job, when you're going to save the background job. So it depends upon you how many input fields you're going to enter and then save them as variant. So it depends upon you what all fields you want to save as a variant and you want to run the ME59 in background. Okay, so we have entered the material code and then we'll save this. So our variant is saved with this particular material code as input. Now we'll again go to background job activations and we'll enter this variant. Let's take a drop down and you can see this particular variant is available now. We'll click on check. Then we'll click on save. So you can see here the program name with this variant has been saved. We'll go back. And now we'll click on save here. Now if you go to start condition, you can see there are multiple options against which you can activate this background job. So you have immediate, you have date time, after job, after event. Let's say that you want to run this background job every day. So what you can do is you can click on date and time. And you can see here, you can enter a date from which it has to start. Let's say that we entered today's date. And here you can enter the period values. If you want to run this background job periodically, then you can click on period values. And here you can schedule this particular job periodically. Let's say that daily if you want to run, then you have to click on daily. If you want to run on hourly basis, then you can click on hourly. And in this way, you can schedule this particular job in a periodic basis. Okay. Now here what we are going to do is we are simply going to click on immediate. You can see here, we can click on immediate here. And once I save this background job, system will immediately run my program. Okay, let's check that. So we'll click on save and we'll click on save here. Now we have released this particular background job. Now let us go to our PR. So you can see here, we created a PR, we assigned the source of supply. Now let's click on the status tab. So you can see here, system automatically created this PO in the background. Why? Because I scheduled that job of ME59 with this particular material code as input criteria, which was saved in the variant. Okay, so in this way, you can save your variants, schedule the batch job. System will keep on running that batch job and will create the POs automatically. Now, if you want to see all those programs which were scheduled, then we can go to SM37. So you can see here, if I execute, You can see this particular job was executed successfully. And if I click on spool, you can see this particular spool number was generated. If I click on this icon, you can see this PO was created. Now this job I scheduled on immediate basis. But let's say that you want this job to be run on periodic basis, then you can simply enter the periodic values and then you can save that particular job. Let me just show you. So I'll go to SM36 again. I'll enter auto PO daily. Let's say I want to run ME59 on daily basis. I'll click on step. I'll enter the program name again. I'll enter the same variant. Let's say I'll click on check, save. We'll go back. And this time I'll click on start condition. And this time I'm not going to click on immediate. I'm going to click on date or time. Date or time. If I click here, I'll have to give a scheduled start date. Let's give it today's date. And then I'll go to period values. And let's say that daily I want to run this ME59 in the background with that material code as input. So I'll click on daily, click on check, and then we'll save this particular background job. We'll have to enter some time here. So let's say that you want this job to run at 10 AM every day. So we'll enter 10 AM here. And then we'll click on save. So what we have done is, if you again go to period values, you can see daily we have selected. So daily I want to run this particular ME59 at 10 AM and with the input field as that particular material. Okay, I'll click on save. So I'll enter the date as next date. And we'll save. So you can see here we have this job that has been scheduled from 2nd of June at 10 AM. It will run daily. And what are the steps? If you go to this step, you can see this is the program name and this is the parameter, that is the variant that we saved. This variant contains that particular material code. So for that material code on a daily basis at 10 AM in the morning, system will run this ME59 T code and will create PO against any open PR for that particular material code that we have done through this particular background job. Okay, so in this way you can schedule a background job and run ME59 on the required frequency. Okay, now if you want to delete this particular job, then what we have to do is we have to go to SM37. We'll click on schedule, execute. So you can see here this is scheduled. We can select this and click on delete. And in this way this program was deleted, that is this particular background job was deleted. So we have seen how we can create the PO automatically through ME59. What we did was we assigned the automatic PO indicator in the material master. We assigned the automatic PO indicator in the vendor master. Then we created the source of supply for the material either in the form of info record or contract. Then we created the purchase requisition and assigned that source of supply, that is either the info record or the contract and item number. Then we can run ME59. System will select all those input fields which we have entered in ME59, and then system will create PO based on the selection that we have done in ME59 input. Let me just show you again. If you go to ME59, you can see here all these checkboxes. System will see what all checkboxes you have selected, and then system will create POs accordingly, and system will see what all input fields you have maintained in ME59. Okay, and if you have assigned contracts, then this particular checkbox is essential. Now if you want to schedule this job in background, then you can go to SM36 and enter the program name and the variant name. Variant, you can enter the input fields and save the variant from here. That particular variant will be saved in the background job, and system will keep on running that background job as per the schedule that you have entered in the system. Okay, so in this way you can use ME59 to automatically create a purchase orders. So that's all for today. I hope that you've liked this video. If you like my videos, then please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be putting more videos on SAP MM topics. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thanks a lot.